I think Christian Fulton is potentially, through the domino effect, the most important signing on the defense in the offseason. Maybe bringing back Amenahu, that was a big deal. Because
that was a good one.
Them bringing back Big Mike, them bringing back Amenahu, awesome moves. Love both of them because they needed a nose tackle. They needed another pass rusher, another good defensive lineman. The thing with Christian Fulton, I think if I were to blurb it for someone, what if someone were to try to ask, okay, what does he bring to the table? He's extremely physical, and you can always scroll through. You can show whatever plays you want. He's not afraid to go up and compete against bigger receivers for the ball. This is one of my favorite clips. If you go down, there was one in particular that I really, really loved. He's able to anticipate and compete at the catch point, and that's something that he does with some consistency. He understands right here. You see him passing off a receiver and then coming in. You see the running backs trying to get into the flat. The idea is that he's going to be drawn out of position. Smart zone coverage defender. That's a necessity with Spags. And that's something that he does significantly better than Josh Williams, Najee Johnson, some of the guys that had problems last year. Josh Williams, really physically talented. Spags has never trusted him. We've seen that time after time after time. And last year, the second corner position when Watson was hurt, and then the third corner position being such a problem for the defense, it created a weak spot, something you could attack. And then it kept, as you alluded to, Trent McDuffie out of the slot, which then they tried to do like the big slot thing with Shamari Connor, and then he'd get isolated on slot receivers, and it went badly. They tried Gardner Johnson, or not Gardner Johnson. They tried
Roland-Wallace. I wish it was Gardner Johnson.
Yeah, Gardner Johnson probably would have gone better. Although he's not really like a slot corner either. But yeah, they tried Roland-Wallace, who I kind of like his film. I'm intrigued by him. But they didn't trust him to do everything. They didn't trust Taylor to do everything. They didn't trust Johnson to do everything. And Johnson was the one they kept giving chances to, and he just struggled. I'm curious what he looks like another year removed from his own injury. But here's the big thing. Christian Fulton has been almost exclusively a boundary guy. He's not an incredible athlete. He's got okay long speed, doesn't accelerate super well, but he's tough. He contests well at the catch point. He can be really annoying and sticky in press man when he can keep a hand on someone. Doesn't have great change of direction, which affects him from the slot, but he plays really physical. He anticipates and reads routes really well, plays really good zone coverage, really smart zone coverage. Oh, and he also plays the run really well, tackles really well. So that keeps, with him, McDuffie, and Watson, I think you've got the best tackling trio in the NFL. That's a huge deal. It was a huge part of their identity in 2023 was that wide receiver screens aren't going to work. These tunnel screens aren't going to work. If you try to get your runner to the edge and make our corners tackle, guess what? They will. Fulton can be a part of that. And then most importantly, it can kick Trent McDuffie inside on like those 65, 70% of the snaps. Yes. No, I was so happy they went out of their way to get a competent corner. So if I were to not necessarily play style, somewhat play style, but not entirely, but skill level, imagine if they just signed another Jalen Watson, a competent, above average corner who can play man decently, can play zone decently, tackles well. You play those two guys on the boundary. You move Trent McDuffie to the slot where he is the best defender in the NFL in the slot. That allows you to have a domino effect here on the entire defense. So I'm psyched about it. I think that is going to help them tremendously. One big reason the pass rush looked worse in 2024 than 2023, part of it was Amenahu just wasn't moving as well. That was part of it. But the other part is the coverage wasn't as good by the corners. And you've got the potential to do some of that. Not all. You're not going to replace the elite play that L'Jarius Sneed had in 2023, but you can get a lot closer with three competent corners, one of them being a superstar.